Let's go through the stages of finding a good PCP deal. Welcome back to the channel, folks. JD here with another car finance related tutorial for you. I thought from today I'd start a bit of a series where I take a car at random. We have a look at the advertised PCP deal on the manufacturer's website, and then we see if we can better it, and we'll do a bit of analysis along the way as well using the spreadsheet. So what I did, I went over to Ford completely at random, and it came up with this look: Puma ST-Line X, 1 litre Ecoboost 125 PS mild hybrid, £250 a month on a 2-year Ford options, customer deposit of 5778, optional final payment of 12,592 based on 9,000 miles per annum. Now, the interesting thing about this, first off, is that you'll see it's quoted as 0% APR, so there's no interest to be paid on this. So this is quite an interesting way of looking at things, because normally you might, certainly on a used car, you might be able to haggle a little bit off the quoted APR. And that's obviously an obvious way of getting the deal cheaper. But in this case, because it's 0%, well, we can't really haggle on the interest rate because there isn't any. So what can we do to get a better deal? Well, there's two ways of looking at a better deal. There's a better deal in terms of overall cost, which is obviously the best thing to look for. But there's also, a personal deal to you whereby you've got a set budget in mind per month. And there's two ways that we can lower that monthly payment. One is by decreasing the purchase price, because obviously if you're paying less for the car, you're going to pay less per month. The other way of doing it, and probably not in this case, although we will do some number crunching, is to look at your annual mileage. Because if you lower your annual mileage, and if you choose a mileage that is not over exaggerating what you're going to be doing, only choose a mileage that you think you're going to be doing. I know that's difficult, and that's why PCP is a little bit weird, because no one's got a crystal ball. You don't know what mileage you're going to be doing. But there's no point paying for miles that you're not going to use. So obviously in this case it's quoted as 9,000 miles per year. However, if you made it 8,000 miles per year, the guaranteed future value would increase slightly, which means your monthly payment would drop. So there's different things that we can do. But obviously we can't lower the APR in this case because there isn't an APR to be lowered. So let's first of all go through the Ford calculator, and then I'm going to show you how I, and this is only my way of doing things, would try and beat that deal. So if we go to the build and price bit, we're going to choose Puma mild hybrid, and we're going to find the offer that was quoted. So it was the ST-Line X. Choose that. Okay, and it was the 1 litre 125 PS, so we'll select that. And we'll assume, most offers are usually assuming no options, so I'm going to assume there was no options, no metallic paint, etc. So I'm going to go straight to the finance calculator. Now the important bit in this case, especially because we can't adjust the APR, is the recommended on the road retail price look, and it's coming up at 24,095. So if we go to finance, we'll choose Ford options, which is basically their PCP, and they quoted a deposit, was it 5778? I can't quite remember, and it was 2 years. Let's see what that comes up with. 9,000 miles per year, 238.54. It must have been a bit, I can't quite remember what the offer quoted. However, let's assume, it doesn't really matter for the purpose of this because there's no interest anyway, so it doesn't really matter what deposit we put in. So let's put what I would personally choose to do and put no deposit in. So let's put a tiny deposit in. Let's put 500 quid in. Brilliant. Okay, so we've still got 0%. Just be careful, because when I was looking at this earlier, if you did 3 years, it was coming out at 2.9% APR. So we're going to go for a 2-year deal because that's what the 0% is based on. Okay, so they are saying, look, with £500 deposit, 458.46, number of monthly payments 24, recommended on the road price is 24,095. That's the important bit at the moment. got no deposit allowance from them, so we are borrowing 23,595. Do always go through this very carefully whenever you take a deal. I've had people email me where it didn't quite add up, they'd missed something off. I've mentioned things in the past where I've looked at quotes and there's something missing. So just make sure it adds up. So yes, 23,595 plus 500 gives you the 24,095 purchase price. Optional final payment, that's what it said on the quote, 12,592. What does that mean? Well, basically at the end of the 2 years, if you want to own the car, you've got to find £12,592. That can either be refinanced, it could be a personal loan, you might have some cash, you can pay it off, etc. Excess mileage charge, 7.2 pence per mile. Don't get too het up in excess mileage charge on a PCP, because you only ever pay the excess mileage charge if you want to return the car back to the dealer at the end of the 24 months and the car is worth less than is worth less than the guaranteed future value. If it's worth less than that, then they're going to go, well, you've done 1,000 miles over, so you owe us £72. Okay. But if it's worth more than the guaranteed future value, it doesn't really matter. That's really only comes into account if you want to physically give it back and the car is worth less than you owe them. If you part exchange it, if you trade it in, you might find that they give you that value anyway, certainly if you're going to carry on and take another deal out with the dealer. So anyway, that's beside the point. So first and foremost, what I always do, and what we'll always do in this series, is let's just check that the spreadsheet works. So you can get a copy of this spreadsheet by emailing me at the address shown here, which is there. If I could point, where is it? There we are, somewhere there. One-off donation of £10. You'll get as many updates as this as I care to make. But it is really quite useful because it enables us to do all sorts of things. Right, so the total cost was 24,095 and the deposit we were putting in was 500, so we're borrowing 23,595. Guaranteed future value was 12,592. No option to purchase fee. Let's assume we're starting it in this month, which is August today. Blimey, already August 2021, and quoted APR is 0 and it's 24 months. Now, I've done that deliberately just to check something. Coming out at the spreadsheet of 458.46. On the Ford, it's coming out at 458.46. Right, that's interesting. This is not a 24-month agreement. This is a 25-month agreement. So there are 24 equal payments, and then month 25 is where your optional purchase payment lies. And I've said this time and time again, but if you're new to the channel, let me just go over it again. If you ask for a 4-year quote, a 3-year quote, a 2-year quote, just make sure when you're comparing quotes from different places that they are all quoting the same thing. For example, if you ask for a 24-month quote, is it 24 equal payments with month 25 being where the final value lies, or is it 23 equal payments and month 24 being where the final value lies? A lot of them are normally like that. If you ask for a 48-month agreement, you might find it's 49 months. Okay, so in this case, this is really a 25-month agreement because there are 24 equal payments. If I go back to the spreadsheet just to confirm that, look, if I put 23 equal payments in, it comes out at 478.39. So again, that's something just to check. If you're comparing different deals and a dealer says, for example, let's say you went to a dealer and they said it was a 2-year agreement and they were quoting, as in this case, 478.39. You went to another dealer and they quoted you a 2-year agreement, but they were quoting you 24 equal payments. You've saved £20 a month. Now, that doesn't really matter with a 0% deal, but when you're starting to pay interest, obviously, you could find that the one that's slightly more money a month is still less across the whole term because you've got 1 month less payment in there. Okay, so again, just something to bear in mind. So anyway, we've proved that the spreadsheet's working. So what I'm going to do now is try and get this cheaper. Now, yes, you could go to the dealer and do this, but what I'm going to do, look, I'm going to go over to a car finder website, car comparison website, CarWow, Orange Wheels, Drive the Deal, all sorts of ones. I've just gone to Coast to Coast. The only reason I've gone to Coast to Coast is it's one I use quite often. I've got no affiliation with Coast to Coast, but they'll give you a price straight away, whereas CarWow, you'll often have to wait for the for the dealers to get back to you. So we're going to go Ford, we're going to go Puma, we're going to go petrol, manual, 5-door, select type, 1 litre Ecoboost, yes, and we're going to go ST-Line X. Now they've got 24,345 there, look, which is interesting because Ford were quoting 24,095. Anyway, it's the same car. So I'm going to choose that lot, and I'm going to skip all the options because that's what we did on the Ford. No, no metallic paint, that kind of thing. Straight away. Oh look, Ford credit options available at 0%. Actually, it says over 2 or 3 years there, but it didn't work for me when I chose 3 years. But straight away, look, we've got 10% down. So 21,936. So what you could do is with Coast to Coast, what they'll do is a dealer will contact you, but it might not be your local dealer. So the first thing that I would always do, whether I've got a quote from CarWow or Coast to Coast or whoever it might be, I take this to my local dealer and go, I want to give you the business. Can you match or beat this? That's what I've done in the past, and it works. So don't think that just because this is cheaper than your local dealer, it's not worth asking them. Let's just see though what difference this would make. So if I go back to my spreadsheet and put in 21,936, usually in my experience everything else will stay the same, certainly on a new car, because it's set by the manufacturer. So the guaranteed future value should still be 12,592. Any deposit contribution that the dealer might give you should all still stand. We've just knocked some off the purchase price, so 21,396. There you go, 368.50 as opposed to 24,095. £90 a month cheaper, just because there's no interest to pay, just by going to Coast. So 21,936. One other thing I'm going to do is adjust the mileage and see what difference it makes. So if we go to here, look, this was 9,000 miles a year. Let's drop it to 8,000 miles. Oh, we can't. We can't drop it to 8. Let's drop it to 6. 6 might be a bit pushing it, but as I said, it's not the end of the world if you're slightly over, unless you are giving it back at the end of the PCP. Yes, it might be valued slightly lower, but I think certainly if you were going, you've always got haggle space. If you're taking on a new car, certainly the same manufacturer, are they going to lose your business for the fact that your part exchange value is 200 quid less than what you owe? I doubt it. So let's do 6,000 miles. Final value now, look, has increased to 12,693. So it's not made a massive difference. It will make a bigger difference on certain manufacturers, as we'll see through the series that I'm going to do. But 12,693. Yeah, it's gone up £101. I'd probably keep it at 9,000 miles. But let's just see. 364. So we've gone from 364.29 up to 454.25. So we've actually saved 90 quid just by nipping over to Coast and getting a price, and then we go to our local dealer. If they can't match it, fine, click on Coast and get the car from them. You'll probably find it's a reasonably nearby dealer, certainly in your county. I hope that was reasonably useful. I'll choose another car. If anybody wants me to go through a specific car, please do comment below, because I don't mind what I look at. It can be expensive cars, luxury cars, sports cars, whatever. So if you're thinking of getting a car, let's just go through some examples. It might give us some interesting things to talk about. Okay, as always, like I say, if you do want a copy of this spreadsheet, you can for some reason neither of them are playing, so we'll go back to here for some reason, but you can send me an email for either this spreadsheet you've seen today, or you can send me one for my electric vehicle salary sacrifice spreadsheet. That's really useful if you're thinking of salary sacrificing to purchase or lease, I should say, an electric vehicle. If you want to drop me a line about anything else, please do so. I'll try and get back to you. In the meantime, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.